Hey, Camden Catholic. I'm Rihanna Rudica, and today I'll be interviewing our classmates to talk about all things Asian in celebration of Asian History Month. So before we get started, please introduce yourselves.
A Canada Catholic. I'm Jason, and I'm a junior.
Yeah. Hey, so I'm Quan. I'm also a junior.
So weird.
Okay, let's get started with a question. Were you born in America or did you move here?
Me, I was born here already, so I have to immigrate over here.
And for me, I was not born here. I was born in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh, and I came here when I was 6.
So was it hard to transition into grade school?
I wouldn't say it wasn't hard because I don't think I understood. Like I think I didn't have any real struggle, and my school was really good at helping me transition and learning English. I remember not knowing any English, and it all sounded really like gibberish to me. I had a really good support system, and my school had this extra speech thing that to help me, and I went through summer school for 2 years to learn English, and I had a friend to do it the whole time with me. T.
Was it hard to make friends with other American students, or did you get along with them very well?
It wasn't hard per se. I think because my school was just itself was really diverse. So there are a few other kids who didn't know English too. Um I met my best friend Amy. She didn't know English either, which was surprising. And she spoke Spanish and I spoke Vietnamese, but somehow we became best friends.
That's so sweet. Did you, as a kid, ever get put under any stereotypes?
Me, no, because I feel that goes a lot towards the school that we went to. Again, like you said, it was very diverse, so there weren't really many stereotypes and racial profiling that happened. Because and I think in our class there were no white people.
Yeah, it was just extremely diverse. There was no white people in our school.
So I think that had to do with a lot of it.
What
but outside of school, I didn't really have to experience a lot of that either.
So. Yeah, I totally agree. The teachers at our school really preached a lot about love. You know, if we were gonna talk about because we went to a Catholic school, we went to St. Joe's Pro Cathedral. I saw you ask, yeah. But if one message of Christ that they really preach was that we should love everyone as our brothers and sisters, they really didn't tolerate any type of racism or stereotyping. So, I think at that young age, it's really good to teach that. Because
so even as you went along in grade school, even 6th, 7th, 8th grade, it was still you didn't get put under any stereotypes?
I had an incident where a bunch of kids during recess came up to me and bowed to me. And at that point, I hadn't had any racism done towards me. So I didn't understand why that was bad. But, what was I saying?
So they bowed to you and you were flustered.
Yeah, and I didn't understand it. And it was again, it was for Amy, who came up to me and was like, Quan, that's not okay that they bowed to you. They got, it wasn't one person. It was a bunch of kids bowed to me. And I was like, oh, okay. She was like, you need to tell someone. And I told someone. And this was the most awkwardest moment. But I remember my gym teacher during my lunch made them get up to me and apologize. And I had to
oh my god.
Yeah, but I think that was the only thing, right? There was no other time where I was specifically harassed for being Asian.
Yeah, same.
Although as an Asian myself, I feel like I also felt pressured to keep high grades throughout my high school and even grade school career just because of stereotypes.
Yeah.
Do you also feel the same?
Yeah.
Jason? Yeah, I mean people know Asians to be oh my god, you have to be so smart at math. Not even just math, every other stuff, but
right.
I feel over my academic career I had to maintain that level of academic professional academic Can you cut this part out, please? I had to maintain like my good grades just to keep up with that racial stuff because I thought, like that's what you had to do. And then it just felt weird not being like that smart Asian.
How did you guys first feel when you heard about like the coronavirus being called like the Chinese disease and all that? I thought it was a shock because that was blatantly racist, and I thought that was unacceptable.
It's also so crazy to think that this is the year where Asian people are so like as hailed as like so amazing. Like Parasite won like what 5 Oscars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the same year where we praised that, and then last year was it this year? It was like last year or this year where Crazy Rich Asian came out, and like To All the Boys I've Loved has an Asian lead, and everyone's like Asian people are so amazing. Like they now deserve, they now deserve everything. Is Rihanna okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
But like in the same time span from that, Asian people are then now mocked and being like beaten down in the streets because they think that it's our fault to give them it's Asian people's fault that they're getting this disease, which I think is entirely ridiculous.
Yeah. I completely agree. Like, I remember I was like playing Xbox one time, and let me tell you, I was like destroying this one guy, and like a game called Rocket League. You need to know that. But he texted on the top left was like a chat for like people to play to talk between.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like 6 goals ahead of this guy, and then this guy before he like quit, he was like, "Go eat bats," and then like he left. I'm just like, wow, you really had to go there, and then I feel like it's just so hard to understand why it has to be us because Asia is such a big part of the world. So like the chances of this virus happening in Asia is pretty big. Like I know like there's still so much land out there, but Asia takes up a lot of the world. So, yeah.
I agree. I also don't think you should blame China or like the Chinese people for getting this disease because it's not their fault that they have to go out and eat animals that aren't properly like farmed, because it's not their fault that like a government or a society has led them to that. So I don't think it's fair to blame the people for like having to do what they have to do to survive.
Right. All right. What was the last thing? Okay, let's move on from stereotypes in school and talk about family. Does your family celebrate any traditions or have any customs?
I mean, like any other Asian family, we celebrate like New Year's or Chinese New Year's and all that. I know in my family we hold like memorials for my grandfather because he fought in the war, and then other than that we would still celebrate the same like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, all that shit.
Right.
Yeah. My family does the same thing. We also celebrate like Chinese New Year and Lunar New Year. My mom has a shrine, which is like a Buddhist tradition where she would like offer offerings up to like the gods, just so like they'll like give us like good luck and everything. And she's like a big believer in karma, which I think is also like a Buddhist idea, where it's like you put out good things because they can come back to you. Yeah. We also celebrate like celebrates Thanksgiving and Christmas, but it's not for like Catholicism. It's more for the tradition itself. Giving gifts and everything. Yeah.
Right. Okay. When, or rather, how often do you visit Vietnam?
I haven't gotten back since I was like 4, 5. I didn't have the opportunity to come back in a while. My parents have gone back multiple times, and my siblings went without me 2, 3 years ago. But for me, I haven't gone back in a while.
Do you want to? Do you plan on going?
I really would like to go back. I have lots of family over there, aunts, uncles. My grandmother, I haven't seen in literally ages. I just love to come back.
Sorry.
Go on.
Yeah. I went back last year. Just to spend time with family for my mom.
Must be nice.
I'm sorry you didn't go back to your son. You know what? A lot of Viet kids don't have the chance to go back. So like just
Oh,
and
why?
I don't know. I think it's just like schooling and everything, and like their parents put so much of like an emphasis on their education that it's just like they're like, oh, I don't want to take you out of school for you to go to Vietnam. But I think it's important, for like kids like Jason to be immersed, kids like Jason, like all of us to be immersed in like Vietnamese culture.
You guys can go back together. Were there any culture shocks that you experienced last time you visited?
Last time I went, not much, but I was like 4 or 5 riding a motorcycle because the amount of motorcycles that are over there is just crazy. You don't see like in here, you see a lot more cars, but like 1 or 2 motorcycles a week. It's literally like the opposite in Vietnam. It's actually kind of crazy. But you see a lot of like those like Asian vans, like the
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, those Asian vans.
Yeah, same in the Philippines too. Actually, there's a bunch of motorcycles. All day you hear motorcycles. Like
I don't up with like Asian countries and motorcycles. Like we just don't drive cars. It's just not a thing.
And like full on families would also be riding on motorcycles.
Yes.
Like kids, mom, dad, everyone on the motorcycle.
I've seen a family pack like 5 people onto like this like skinny moped. It's like the kid would be standing in front, right? And then there'll be one, like the person will be driving, and then there's one in the middle, and then there's one in the back, and then there's one like sitting on like not even the seat, but just like the thing in the back, and you're just holding on. And that's it.
I thought that was crazy when I first saw it. I was like, oh my god, that family. So yeah, let's move on to the next segment. So I'll say a statement, and you have to agree with it on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is completely disagree and 5 is completely agree.
All right.
So the first statement is authentic Asian food is incredibly hard to find in America.
Okay, so I'm gonna
go.
I'd say 5. It depends on who you are. Like what if you're Asian, then you definitely know like the best place to go for like authentic Asian food, because the Asian community is so tight knit, and that like you all get together and you talk, like we all like our conversation, we all know the best place to get dim sum in Chinatown. You don't go the other one, you go to like the one place, and that's it. Yeah,
I agree. Like 4.5. Like if you're not Asian yourself and you don't have like an Asian friend to tell you where to go, you do not know the best places to go, and you will get ripped off. You're gonna spend more money for less quality food.
Okay, so next statement. I have felt pressured to date within my own race.
That's like a 4.5 right there.
Yeah, like I'd say like a 5. It's like half. My parents would love like a Asian specific, like a Viet guy, but that's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah. And then like you have sometimes get your parents like who like try to slyly imply it, but like they're not doing a good job at it. They're like, I can't wait to date like a Vietnamese girl, and then like I know you want me to date it.
Yeah. Or they'll like try, like they have their Viet friends and they'll like be like, like she has a son who's Viet and who speaks Vietnamese, you could always just check it out. And I'm like, no, it's okay. But they understand that like when you come here, it's a mix of culture, so they can't really.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one. I would go to school in Vietnam if I was given the opportunity.
I won't say a 0 because that's mean. I do a 1. Yeah, I can't do it.
I'll do a 0. I'll do a 0.1.
Those things get so much pressure put on them. It's like it's insane. They start school earlier in the year, and then they also like have schools for longer hours because they have to go to normal schooling. Then they go home, and then I think they have like a tutoring session, and then they go and they go to English school to learn English. So it's like they don't get done till like 7 at night, and that doesn't count. They still needed to do their homework and everything. That's insane. I would never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. Asian fashion is beginning to make an impact here in America.
No, yeah, like that's like a 4.5. I think now that Asians are becoming more like popular in like social media, they're trying to integrate more of like our fashion into the Western world, but like some things, but like, it's not necessarily for the better. I know like some things are just taken too far, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I totally agree with Jason. Like what do you say, like a 4.5? I'd say like a 5. I think especially with the introduction of like K-pop and the fact that like Asian music has been like introduced into like America, so Asian fashion slowly follows with it as people begin to like these like K-pop stars, and they start to see the way they dress and they start to try to like dress the way they do. Yeah, I also think we talked about this. The kimono thing in American Eagle. It's probably not just American Eagle, but the kimono.
It's not just American Eagle,
yeah. But when you call like your like flower shawl that like you put like a kimono, like and you don't have a
it's not.
you don't know what the traditional garb is, but you know, I don't agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's all the questions I have for today. Thank you guys for joining me, and I hope Ken Catholic had a fun time watching. Stay safe, everyone.
Bye bye.
I